Hey guys, my name is Colin. I own the C3 YouTube channel, and I want to become a pilot one day. I'm currently working on my PPL, and as I continue to use my training in real life, I've kind of been using flight simulators to help accentuate my training at home. Part of using flight simulators is this tool that I've used called VATSIM. VATSIM has been super helpful for my training as it's connected me to realistic air traffic controllers, which has made my communications inside of real life planes much easier. As I continue to use VATSIM, I started to wonder if maybe I should become a VATSIM air traffic controller, and that is exactly what this series is all about. I'm here today to bring you the second part of how I became VATSIM ATC. Before I start the video, I wanted to say some things. First of all, thank y'all so much for the love in the last video. I mean, really, y'all blew that thing up. It was absolutely amazing. I love seeing all the comments. I love seeing you guys enjoy the series. So here we are. We're continuing the series. You guys definitely motivated me to continue it. So I really hope you enjoy this. And on to the second part of information. The second part of information is that this video is much later than it should have been. The video should have been released about a week earlier than it actually was. I had some of this stuff done already. Some of it I'm already having to film right now. But I had some problems with Microsoft Clipchamp, so I'm having to change over to a different editing software. And pretty much a lot of my files got corrupted. So the entire intro and a lot of the middle part of that video got corrupted, so now I'm having to film it on this. But that's okay. Nonetheless, the video is done now. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you at the end. I started the process by talking to actually another air traffic controller from the Boston airspace who's currently working on, I believe now, his S3. His name's Chan. He's a really nice guy, and he helped me to install both my radar client, and he allowed me to observe him by screen sharing, so I could kind of see everything that was going on and how he dealt with all the different ins and outs for the airport. Though we are in different airspaces, Chan did help me out a whole lot, so I really appreciate him. If you guys see him in the comments of this video or whatever, comment underneath him, tell him thank you, because I'm not gonna lie, this video would be a lot more delayed than it was, and it is already super delayed. But guys, I'm not gonna lie, after I met with him, I got pretty lazy. I didn't really do much over the next 2 weeks. I kind of took a break because school was just kicking me down the throat with the finals. And I did set up a few meetings with some people to help me with some other things on the series and establish rules and stuff, but I really didn't do much outside of that. And the big barrier that I faced was I didn't want to schedule my first lesson because I felt like I hadn't done enough stuff to actually get there. Despite that feeling, I still did. And actually, I'm really glad I did. I got set up with this really nice guy. His name's Dylan Lupo. Dylan helped me out a whole bunch because although there was a lot of stuff I did remember, there was also some stuff that I didn't remember. A massive shout out to him, and here it is. This is my first lesson as a VATSIM air traffic controller.
I have really good news for the both of us. This is your first session, right? So this first one is by far the easiest session. It's going to be a lot of recap. I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you. So if you have any questions, like at all, feel free to ask. I'll try to do my best, and if I can't answer your question, there's plenty of people I can get an answer back to you soon, Okay. But this first one's just going to be recap and information and super simple stuff and preparing you for your next session, which the next one will actually be, we call it the sweat box, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
And so that's the client where you actually log into your controlling program, CRC, and we start to move stuff on the ground, right? Are you familiar with like SOP and LOA?
Yeah, so I know SOP, Standard Operating Procedures. We have those. And I actually, letter of agreement, is that what LOA means?
Yep, exactly.
I know what's in an SOP. I don't exactly know what's in it.
So they're actually really, really similar. So your SOPs are going to be like the Nashville Airport Air Traffic Control Tower SOP. And so that's going to be a document that's very specific to procedures on the ground and in the local airspace of Nashville, right? So the SOPs are very specific to the airport itself. The letter of agreements, those are going to be how different, positions interact with each other.
Okay.
The next part of our session, we're actually going to talk about your exam answers. And so I went ahead and pulled up your exam on the VAT USA Academy.
Okay, so real quick, I cannot show what we went over for my exam answers because I don't want to show the exam to you guys. So that's off limits. Sorry, guys. There you go. That's restricted. And I also just want to make a few side comments while I stop this video and say we talk about a lot more stuff than this, than the stuff that I put in. It's just I have to meet time requirements. So it's cut down a lot more. There's a lot more stuff in here. But yeah, we go over the exam. We talk about that next, and then that leads into this.
This is for IFR routing, and so this will kind of give you the most commonly used routes as well as altitudes for those routes. So when you open it, you'll see IFR Route Analyzer. You'll see origin airport and destination airport. So like for an example, we can put KMEM in the origin, Memphis. And let's do Atlanta, KATL. And when you click Find Routes, you'll see a ton of these routes, right? And it'll show you their altitudes. We'll kind of use this to make sure that these routes are looking right when we're giving clearances, if that makes sense. So this might be a good tool to have in your back pocket for later.
Okay.
Okay. Now for the hardest part of this session. Types of airspaces.
Okay. Do this.
There are 6 airspaces we recognize here. Do you know them? Really hard.
I mean, I can give a go on a few. I'm probably not gonna get all 6.
Okay. Now remember, you can use your resources.
I would say Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. We have Class Delta. I don't know.
Yep.
Okay, we have Class Delta.
Yep, you're doing good.
And then we have uncontrolled airspace, right?
Okay. Yep.
And then I'm
one more.
Do you guys have Echo here? Is that?
Yes. Yep. Okay. So you pretty much got them all. So my first question for you is: do you know what transition airspace is? Or the transition level, I should say.
Like transition level between what? Like between like departure and.
So.
Because I know it's 180 is for like center, right? Unless
that's in the United States. That is the transition level. Period.
Okay. Cool.
Our next tiers, we're going to have Class Bravo airspace. Now, you told me a little bit about Class Charlie. That's for Little Rock, which is like a smaller airport. Mm-hmm. What do you, when I say Class Bravo, what does that make you think?
That makes me think of the Atlantas, the LAXs, DFW airports. Like
Exactly. Class Bravos are really reserved for your major airports. The FAA kind of has certain, I guess, restrictions on, or maybe that's not the right word, but preferences on, how much traffic goes through it, how much airspace they really need for these departures, these arrivals, stuff like that. Because it's really tightly knit, controlled airspace. Like you said, with the Charlie, you have to talk to the controller to go through it. For the Bravo, it's that and a little more complicated, right? And then the next level down is going to be Class Charlie, like we talked before. Usually they won't have as many tiers. They'll be a little smaller. They kind of extend from the airport to about 20 miles out. On your charts, they're going to be denoted with a magenta, solid magenta line. They'll usually go up to about 10,000 feet or so. Now, for most Class Charlie airspaces, do you know what the T requirements are?
I don't know if you need specific. I know you need two-way communication. You also need the mode Charlie train. I don't think you need specific clearance into the Charlie.
Yep, that's it. Do you know anything about deltas?
Okay, I know like the smallest amount because I've seen like TikToks and stuff of people flying through Class Deltas. And I know that the Air Force Base right by Little Rock is a Class Delta, but I've never been in that airspace.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Class Delta is really, so Charlie's your kind of minor airports. Delta's your really small airports, to be fair. Like you said, the military base. Mm-hmm. Usually Deltas will kind of have operating hours if they're towered. They're pretty simple. They only require one thing. As you get smaller and smaller, you need less and less. You just need that two-way communication. Hey, I'm here. Okay, cool. You're in. Bam. Simple, right? Class Echo, it's really easy to remember. Echo, so it's E for everywhere is what we say. Oh. Class Echo is kind of the airspace between the Bravos, the Charlies, the Deltas, the Golfs. It's everything below 18,000 that's not in a designated airspace, right?
Okay. I got it now for the most part. I mean, this is all stuff that I kind of know from flying, so it's awesome. Not that bad, but there is some things like recognition of it on my charts. So I have to get better at that for sure.
Yeah, luckily as a controller, when you're kind of sat down in an airspace, you kind of know what it is. You don't have to worry about the other ones too much. A Class E is probably not going to fly into your airspace, considering that, airspaces don't really fly.
Yeah.
That was kind of a bad joke.
No, I got it. It was funny.
Oh, thanks. Next is we're going to talk about direction of flight. And so direction of flight is really important for giving clearances, because where you fly at what flight level really matters. So are you familiar with flight directions at all? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know all of them.
You know all of them. Okay,
wow. East is odd, west is even, and then for
what about
VFR altitudes, Oh, I'll talk about above flight level 410. I'll talk about that in just a second.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry, I'll sit down. Go ahead.
but VFR is plus 500 for those odds and evens, and then of course it doesn't go up to 18,000. Above 18,000, you can't have VFR. And then for flight level 410 and above, essentially how it works is the 410 is going to be an odd altitude, which means it's going east. But after that, the next altitude is going to be 430. So you're adding 2,000 to that, and that's actually going to be the westward. And then you go all the way up to flight level 600. And honestly, if you're flying above that, you shouldn't really need to contact us.
Well, that's spot on. But I have a question for you. You think you know everything, huh?
No.
If you're flying straight north, what direction of flight would that be?
I have thought about this before. Actually, I've never had the question to ask about it. Here's what I would assume. Right, if you're flying straight north, right? So this is assuming you have an airport that has a runway that is straight north, and then has another airport that is also straight north. I would assume you're
Sure.
flying. I would assume you're flying even altitudes, right? Or do you get the choice of both?
So you're wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong. Okay.
You're wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
Dang it.
So I'm gonna give you two ways to remember this. So the way I remember it is there's a saying. It's Neod Sweven. I'm gonna type that out so you can see it.
Okay.
So from north to east, if you're going from north to anywhere that's east, you're gonna be odd always. And if you're going from west to anywhere south, you're gonna be even always.
Okay.
Right. Next, equipment suffixes. And so this is where it kind of gets a little hairy and very, 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 very picky. So one thing I will preface is on VATSIM, we have certain rules on the code of conduct of which equipment suffixes are not allowed. So to fly on VATSIM, you have to have a transponder. You can't fly any aircraft that does not have a transponder, right? Fair enough? We're only going to talk about the sixth most popular ones. So it'll be pretty simple. And so any suffix that falls within that RVSM bracket, get this, it can fly RVSM, right?
Would have never guessed.
Would have never guessed. There you go. And so most commonly we'll see slant Lima, slant Zulu, and slant Whiskey. Those are RVSM equipment suffixes that we'll see most, right? Airways. Let's talk about airways. There's 4 kinds of airways. These are good to know. You'll use them when you're routing aircraft sometimes, but they have kind of specific rules on how they work, right? So the 4 airways we have Q as in Quebec and J as in Juliet Airways. So these are going to be our high altitude airways. They'll start at flight level 180 and they'll extend upwards into class Alpha. So Q and J airways will usually be for IFR aircraft, right?
Perfect.
And then we have Victor and Tango Airways. These are our low altitude airways, and they'll always start below flight level 180 because they're usually used for like VFR traffic if they're using flight following or I guess low IFR, stuff like that, right? Now, there is a difference between if we're talking about our Tango and our Q's in Quebec Airways, these are our RNAV airways, right? So if you remember, Tango is low altitude and Quebec is high altitude. So there's one for low, one for high. They're RNAV airways, right?
Perfect.
So a slant Whiskey can't fly a Q airway. Likewise, Victor and J airways are non-RNAV airways. So if they can't take the RNAV, they can take the non-RNAV, right?
I'm going to say pilot nav, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so this one, you're correct. It's pilot nav, right? And so the reason it's pilot nav for this one, as a tower controller, whenever we're giving them clearance, we're going to say, RNAV, you're cleared RNAV to jacks, or you're cleared RNAV to ribs.
Okay.
Okay, now take a look at this one for me and tell me which one you think it is.
That one would be... Well, okay, first of all, it's radar vectors out, but then you are going to join the departure, so it's a hybrid departure. Because you're going to be given
exactly. Well, that was a lot, but that's really all I have for this first session. How do you feel, Colin?
Perfect. I like this already.
Oh,
This has been the best part so far, because all the other parts are like... I don't know what it is with the training academy here in VATSIM. But y'all need to update the videos that we use in there because they're from like
That's funny.
50 years ago. And I mean, I'm sure things are still the same, but like.
Okay, I have some homework for you. Okay, I have some homework. So going back to the website, right? There's a few things that I want you to read. Under documents, under SOPs, I want you to find the Memphis Airport, the KMEM Air Traffic Control Tower SOP. And it looks like you're supposed to read chapters 1, 2, and 3. I just want you to read over the document, kind of glance over it, look for the parts that talk about like ground control and clearance and delivery and stuff like that. All right.
Okay. I can do that.
So that's your homework. Oh, good. Yeah, make me look great, please.
Okay, I'll make myself look good too. We'll both look like rock stars in this video.
Sounds good.
I really appreciate you. I'm gonna head out now, and
we'll see you later.
So there it is, guys. That's my first lesson on VATSIM. I think that's kind of going to be where I end the video today. But I really hope you all enjoyed that. I think that was a lot of fun. Dylan's a great guy. Of course, read up on my homework after I did this. And yeah, the next video is going to be our second lesson, which we are kind of going to go on to IFR clearances and moving things on the ground. And well, at this point, when I'm recording this, that lesson has already been done. So I'll be uploading that as soon as I possibly can, probably uploaded within the next few days. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you should like, subscribe, do whatever you can help with the channel. I apologize, this video is a little bit longer than the other one was, so if you couldn't stick around, that's okay. And one last thank you to everybody in the last video, whether you liked, commented, subscribed, or just watched the video at all. Thank you so much. You really, really helped me out, and you motivated me to continue this series. So I really hope you enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.